Joining me is Dr. Sergei Dvoryanov, Director Communications of BRICS Culture Media Forum, live from Moscow, Russia, and Professor Oleksiy Haran, Professor of Comparative Politics at the University of Kiev, Moldova. Thank you very much for joining us. Dr. Dvoryanov, I wanted to come to you on this first question. Do you think Trump's involvement really could end this conflict?
I hope so. Of course, it's not only our hope, it's a hope of all humanity, of all of the world. But come again to the inauguration ceremony of Donald Trump. How many times he repeat word God, and how many times he repeat word America in his speech. I believe that it's only one formula of peace, which described in the Asian spiritual scripture Bhagavad Gita, which belong to Vedic culture. Formula of peace is serving to God. That's why we can expect, if Donald Trump really wants to bring peace into the human society, modern human society, he should make it on scientific level. And when he will come to Moscow, he should bring with his delegation some real spiritual leaders and philosophers as well, who can pray together in our Red Square in Moscow for the peace in future of all humanity. Because I believe it's only one formula of freedom as well. Freedom is coexistence and co-dependence. We depend from each other. That's why when a famous American singer prepare some song where the world was the children, means where the children of God, we should put this agenda as a peacemaking dialogue. And come again to your show. Last time I discussed with my Ukrainian colleague about the historical facts. When I mentioned some historical facts, he called me that I'm a liar. But I smile and I pray to his spiritual benefits. If we will start with peacemaking dialogue, even in your platform, in your show, with respect to each other, when we can feel co-dependence of each other, that is formula of freedom and formula of peace.
Professor Haran, I want to bring you into this next one. This may be stating the obvious, but why is it so important that Kiev be included in any peace talks?
Why? Because I think it's natural. The answer is natural because this is war for our freedom and for our very existence. So I think we should be included definitely. You know, great powers cannot decide for ourselves. So if we are talking practically regarding this potential talks between Trump and Putin, I think Ukraine will not participate directly in this meeting when it happens, if it happens. But definitely our word should be heard by US, by other allies, so to take Ukrainian position into consideration. And this is a question actually about what Trump will do, because, you know, he declares his intention to stop the war. Very good. He declares he said Zelenskyy is ready for that. He didn't mention that Putin is ready for that, so he's going to pressure Putin. But he is saying that I would like to reach an agreement. So the question here is what kind of agreement? This is very, very important. So if Dr. Dvoryanov, I will not call him a colleague because he's a typical, you know, Russian propagandist, is saying about historic facts. Historic facts are the facts that you attacked non-nuclear and neutral Ukraine. These are historic facts.
Okay.
You know, okay, and talking about God, I think it's very important. It's not for Russia to talk about God, because their church is supporting the war very, very clearly. They are killing believers in Ukraine, Orthodox believers. They are destroying the temples in Ukraine. So this is a church which is blessing the war.
I want to ask you both the same question in this respectful conversation. How do you both respond to Zelensky's concern that Putin may not be genuinely interested in peace? Dr. Dvoryanov, could you go first on this one, please?
First of all, I'm highly appreciate for the Professor Alexei that he mentioned in his speech some words which I already mentioned, like existence. For example, come to the famous movement Black Lives Matter, American natives' lives matter, Ukrainian lives matter, Russian lives matter. That again is formula coexistence, codependence. That's why we start to respect each other. And I respect speech of Professor Alexei. That's a practical step to peacemaking dialogue. We already improved that we can do it together right now in your show. And practically speaking, of course, Mr. Zelensky, come again, I also cannot call him president because he was not re-elected. He has some problems with his legacy, like his colleague, president of South Korea. That's why I can see that he is in trouble time right now. He has a lot of challengers inside country, outside country, because before his election he promised that he will bring peace to Ukraine, but he bring war actually. That's why he's in trouble time. We should support his on the spiritual level. We should pray together. We should add it to the delegation of peacemaking dialogue some philosophers and religious spiritual leaders. That is most important.
Professor
and some scientists.
Professor Haran,
Yes.
I want to get to your response to that. And how do you respond to Zelensky's concern that Putin does not want this war to end?
You see, it's very difficult to have a discussion because of theses which are made by Mr. Dvoryanov and which are actually Kremlin thesis, propaganda. So why do you kill Ukrainians, Mr. Dvoryanov? You're talking about peace. You are killing, don't smile please. You are killing Ukrainians every day, civilians. I would like to stress it. So if you are talking Zelensky, again, he's totally legitimate. According to our constitution, unfortunately, we don't have possibility to make re-elections during the war because Russia attacked Ukraine. And Russia is teaching us democracy. Come on, you have a dictatorship. We have elected president, not yours. So this is, really a bluff when Russia is trying to teach others a democracy. We know what Russia's system is. And well, regarding your question, yes, we think that Putin doesn't want peace, definitely, because he is saying that he would like to annex 4 Ukrainian oblasts, regions, even 5, I would say. So that's his policy. How peace can be built on that? If superpower, nuclear, so-called superpower, because actually you have no other arguments than nuclear blackmail. If this attacks independent country and seizes its land, at this point at 20% of Ukrainian territory.
Can I get your response to this, Dr. Dvoryanov? And I also want to ask, is Russia prepared to make concessions for a peace deal?
Yes, thank you so much. First of all, when my brother from Ukraine, Professor
I'm not
Alexei...
your brother. I'm really sorry.
Okay.
Can we keep this conversation respectful, please, and let each other speak when...
Okay, yes, I will respond. When he can see smile on my face, he cannot see tears inside my heart. I'm a religious philosopher. That's why I can see, come again to the Vedic scripture. In Vedic scriptures very clearly explain when somebody blame, for example, neighbor, ruler of the country, king, anybody, actually he blame God himself. Why? Because I believe to karma. I believe to some spiritual law which exists in our even material existence. That's why we should put this topic of peacemaking dialogue on very scientific level, not just put some very aggressive words to each other.
Professor Haran, please, can you respond to this? And what are your thoughts on US involvement in this war? And some final thoughts, please.
Yes, and finally, I that we have three main conditions. It's a basis, it's a platform, it's a principles where we can start with this peacemaking dialogue. First conditions that Russian lands and the Russian population, which already chose to join to Russia, should be a part of our civilization. It's already written in our constitution. Second, no any Nazi movement should be exist inside Russia, because it's a shame for all humanity. And the last point, we should prepare some law that Ukraine never will join to NATO. That's all. As simple as this.
Professor Haran, please, just one quick last statement as we are running out of time.
In God, but I think that it's important, if Russia wants peace, stop the war and withdraw from the occupied territory. God didn't bless you to occupy another country, to attack another country. Basically, what Mr. Dvoryanov is saying now, that Russia would like to annex Ukrainian territories. It's not according to the God's will. It's against international law. It's against international law. And finally, about future security for Ukraine, Russia attacks neutral states. Neutral. Let me remind to you, Mr. Dvoryanov, that in 2014, Ukraine was a neutral state, and you attacked it. So, and you are talking about peace, about God's will? No, it's against God's will.
Thank you very much, both guests, Dr. Dvoryanov and Professor Haran, for joining us in that conversation.